Hi there, Day 12 readers. Welcome back, and we are finishing up Matthew chapter 9 today. So let's dig right in. There are two really overarching themes that I see as I read this last section of chapter 9. One has to do with the faith of the people who were seeking after Jesus. At the beginning of verses 18, we see that Jesus is healing many people as he goes throughout the different cities. And these stories are actually in more detail in some of the other Gospels. Matthew just kind of summarizes them into these few verses. And we see that the girl that was brought back to life, we see a woman that was healed. She reached out to touch Jesus's robe, actually prayer shawl, thinking that just by touching him, she would be healed. And he ends up healing two blind men who follow him. And it wasn't really until I was reading it that I was thinking, to be blind and following Jesus, it has to be very difficult, especially during that time. So asking people for help and directions and making sure they were staying in close proximity to him so that they did not lose where he was going had to be very important in the time. And so one thing I was thinking about was, there's a lot of sick people that Jesus encounters. And a couple of ideas on that. One would be, of course, that they're seeking him out. I mean, these people, it says that they were following him, they were looking for him, people were bringing others to him. And so I know that was the case too. And we have to remember in that time, hygiene and cleanliness was a lot different than it is today. So being blind was actually probably a lot more common than it is today, just because the sanitary piece, things getting in your eyes, flies, infections, becoming blind was actually probably more common in that time than it would be today. So we see a lot more of that and a lot more opportunities that Jesus has to heal these people. But what we notice in all of these verses where he's healing is he always mentions their faith. And he says that your faith has healed you. And it's not that everybody who has faith is going to be healed of everything, but that's what Jesus is looking for. He's looking for us to have faith in him. And remember that faith is believing without seeing. And so for these people, they saw Jesus, but they didn't really necessarily know that he was the Son of God yet, because he has not died on the cross. There is no resurrection yet. So they just have to believe that he is who he says he is. The blind men actually call him the Son of David, which is another way of claiming that he's the Messiah. And back then, remember that the Pharisees are looking for a different Messiah. They're looking for a political savior. And that made me think about, if we're looking for a political savior in this modern day, then we're missing the point. Jesus didn't come to overtake the world in a political way. He came to save it. And so if we, as 2020-ish people, are looking for that political savior, we're not going to find it in a person here. And so we need to continue to seek after God, follow him, and put our faith in him and not in a man or woman here on earth. And then Matthew chapter 9 finishes up with a mute man being healed who had a demon. And so back in this day, most of the time, Pharisees and religious leaders felt like they could call out demons if they knew the demon's name. So there's a story in the Gospels later, and it's like, "What is your name?" And the demon says, "I am Legion." And so we'll talk about that more as we get into it. In this case, the man is mute, so he can't tell us the name of his demon, or the demon can't speak. And that makes it even more miraculous that Jesus is able to call out the demon, because the political leaders, the rabbis, the teachers, they couldn't do it because they didn't know the name, and only Jesus was able to do that. Of course, that led to more criticism of Jesus, and it's only going to ramp up from here as we get closer to the end of his ministry on earth. And then at the very end, it talks about that the harvest is plenty and the laborers are few. And so I think about, Jesus had compassion on all of these people that he encountered. And compassion can be difficult because it's showing grace, showing mercy, showing kindness to even the people that are unkind to us, the people maybe who don't like us, or maybe just people that are maybe unloved by the world. And so our prayer today needs to be that we can have the compassion of Jesus and the faith of those who followed him without really knowing if he was going to be the Messiah. And we are the laborers. The harvest is plenty. There are plenty of people out there who still need to hear about him. So show faith, have compassion, and share the gospel. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.